If you enjoy this content, please take a moment to rate and review it. Your feedback will greatly impact our ability to reach more people. Thank you. All right, man, how you doing?
I'm good. Holiday season, trying to figure out what to get people.
Yeah.
I only have to get a couple, but I just got to figure it out.
You are ahead of me. This is like so much going on right now that I'm not going to be buying anything until the Monday of the week.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to cover. It is a big week in Fedland, so let's go ahead and dig in. Starting with the fact that the Fed did cut rates 25 basis points and is saying that they may be done for now, which to me doesn't really matter. Sounds like they're a lame duck.
Yeah, he's a lame duck, and he also is always trying to, sort of counteract the policy by saying, well, on the other hand, this, on the other hand, that. I mean, that's just sort of his style now, I think. But I'm kind of tired of it. I'm ready for a new one.
Yeah,
Agree.
But
the Fed has 3 stories. The whole economy is Fed stories today with 3 different stories.
Okay. If this is, in fact, the last rate cut, I just want to say he inherited ZIRP.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, did all the stimulus, did all the buying on the balance sheet, right?
Mm-hmm. During the crisis.
Did the money printing, then inflation, addressed that with one of the fastest rate hikes in the history of the Fed, up to 5.5, 5.75.
Yeah.
And now has steadily eased it down to a level of 3.5, 3.75.
That's right.
Right. That's sort of
that's where we are.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next story is about jobs numbers. So Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the U.S. may be drastically overstating jobs numbers. The country could be losing 20,000 jobs a month. Powell said a concern that was part of the decision to cut interest rates. This is the Wall Street Journal.
No kidding. It's been published widely. The BLS is not doing a good job. Thanks for coming out. Yes, BLS is. We talked about it, I think, at the last show. I'm not sure it is 20,000 jobs a month, like Powell's saying. I think it's systematically incorrect, but I think on the way up when we're creating jobs, I think it is undercounting, and then on the way down as we're shedding jobs, I think it's overcounting. But he's saying that one part of the U.S. government, the Fed, doesn't trust what the other part of the government's doing, and that's a concern for Powell. No shit, it's a concern.
Right. I mean, but what does it mean that we have a Fed? And this is a bit of a rhetorical question, but what does it mean that we have a Fed chair that is saying, that has always been data-driven, that is saying he doesn't know that he trusts the numbers? I mean, what level of dysfunction have we arrived at in the relationship between the Federal Reserve and the United States government?
That is at a new high of dysfunction, or new low of dysfunction, I think.
Seems pretty significant, right? Yeah.
And then the other thing I would say is that the Fed has several thousand statisticians, economists, data collectors that work for the Fed. And so if he wants to do run some other analysis, he has thousands of people that can do that.
Right.
And so I don't have a lot of sympathy for Powell's fogginess.
Right.
I mean, he should fix it.
So let's go to this third story. The Fed to resume net asset purchases with $40 billion in securities this month. Didn't they just finish?
They finished last week.
Yeah. Hold on.
Last week.
They just got done bringing it down. Why are they going to resume so quickly? What happened?
Because the repo fails. So it's too wonky, but
let's talk through it. Let's see if we can de-wonk it for a second.
Okay.
Explain it to me.
So the repo market is a market where banks can borrow money overnight.
Right.
And then pay back the next day.
Right.
And then there's something called a fail, which means like they don't have the collateral they need.
Okay.
And so that's a sign of weakness in the banking system that is a red flag to the Fed.
Right.
Because if banks are failing to meet their repo commitments and the Fed has to step in and help them, that's not a good thing.
Right.
And so that has been trending up in a worrisome way, such that the Fed, what they're saying is, don't worry, it's not going to be stimulative, even though they have said forever that quantitative easing is stimulative. We're just fixing this little
blip in
the repo market. and don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
So doesn't that mean that they attempted to back off of everything, and when they did, it facilitated a stress test of the banks across the country? And what they found out when they tried to do that is they actually can't do that. And they have to maintain their balance sheet at a higher level to keep the banks functioning. Because there's a collateral quality issue.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, so they would do it. What I think you're saying, just to rephrase, make sure I'm following, is that they were doing tightening, meaning they were pulling liquidity out of the market
and selling off the balance sheet.
And that was intentional to make the balance sheet smaller, to try to get back to pre-pandemic levels, which they're never going to do, but at least
they tried. They tried to get back there.
And they said they were finished last week with that.
Yep, I remember reading that.
And now they're saying that for the past few months, they've had this repo problem, and so they are going to provide liquidity to the market, which is, the opposite of what they've been doing. If you were not running a big federal agency, I think you would just have stopped doing the tightening in September. When these started happening, like, why would you keep going? So in the same press conference, he said, we're doing one cut, but we are confident that it's over. And then he went on to say that he has no visibility to the jobs market and thinks that the numbers are inaccurate when the jobs mandate is half of their mandate.
Right.
And then he announced that they were beginning to do qualitative easing.
Okay.
So, I mean, those three statements, each of them would be a big announcement, but they don't fit with each other. Like, it's not totally coherent. So, I don't know. I mean, I think the economy is weak, as have I said for a long time. I think jobs are much more dire than inflation is. But, Jerome Powell's not asking me. So I don't know. That's what came out yesterday. All three things.
Okay, that's a lot. That's actually quite a lot.
Yeah. And two of them, I mean, both are easing, and then there's just like a comment of how bad the data is.
Yeah. So I just want to
just summarize.
I want to summarize. Right. So the first story is they did the quarter point cut. That's probably not as important as the fact that there were 3 dissenters on that vote, and I think that's the worst from a dissenter count that Powell's had, period.
On that story, they have it back 20 years, so we can look at it if you want.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I mean, it's the story is there were a lot of dissenters, and it hasn't happened since, I don't know when, 2018 or something like that.
Yeah, so the FOMC quite split. Okay, that's first story. Second story is that the Fed does not trust the BLS numbers.
Yes.
And the third story is the Fed tried to do quantitative tightening, and it ended up unintentionally facilitating a stress test that the banking ecosystem failed, and they had to a week later resume QE.
Yes, that's right.
That's not a good week for the Fed. That's not a good week for the Fed.
No, that's correct. It's not instilling confidence.
No. That is it's one of those things where, like, the Fed is such a esoteric topic that I think the average American, and probably even the average listener, is kind of like, why do these guys talk about the Fed all the time? Right. But it's like, it's our central bank.
Yeah.
It
really affects almost everything in the economy.
Yeah, that's not great. All right, let's move on. Aradigm launches out of stealth with platform for cell gene therapy benefits. So is this a VC story? Yes, the company is making a debut.
It's a first company
by a $20 million Series A funding round that it intends to use to further enhance platform development.
Yeah, so Frisk Cressy led the deal. It's much deeper science than they usually do. So it's cell and gene therapy. I'm really excited about cell and gene therapy in general, but I don't know this company or really much about it.
Okay. General Catalyst is a $50 million round to expand Radial's interventional psychiatry network. New York City-based Radial announced that it raised $50 million Series A. Who's in this besides General Catalyst? Solari Capital, JSL Health Capital, Founder Collective, Box Group, Scrub Capital. Decent group around the table, $50 million, good size round. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, so the transcranial magnetic stimulation.
TMS,
is really an up-and-coming
treatment.
Pick up,
yeah.
I was just looking at another deal related to this. I think there's a lot of promise in the technology in general, and they're bringing it out to market more broadly. So, I mean, there's different ways to deliver it, but it's had a lot of a good effect. So.
AngelEye Health raises $9 million Series C to bring AI-driven insights to the NICU. This is a local deal as well. So a couple of Nashville deals in here. This is a $9 million Series C funding round led by Mountain Group Partners with strategic investment from Nationwide Children's Hospital and a debt facility from Live Oak Bank.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting deal. It's a C round, and AngelEye has a camera video system that you can bring your NICU baby home earlier than otherwise because you're able to allow the physicians and nurses to be able to see in the home. And they're now taking that position and then applying AI to it to deliver more effective care. So pretty interesting that they're sort of leveraging their existing platform. We know several of the people there. I don't know the details of it, but it's pretty interesting sort of space. Good opportunity to help a lot of families.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small Series C, but I think the debt facility from Live Oak Bank actually is pretty important to note because, that's Live Oak is a strong bank in the revenue-based financing space. As well as SBA. Right. And so they underwrote it, and clearly, like, this business is a going concern generating revenue. Otherwise, they wouldn't released the debt facility. So, that basically says, like, this business is, like, for real. It's a real business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good business before the AI tilt. They're in 300 hospitals or something.
Yeah, okay.
And I think there's a good opportunity to bring AI to bear here.
Okay, Origin Therapy is announcing a $2.6 billion round led by Distributed Ventures. The link here is from LinkedIn. How did you end up seeing this one?
Yeah, so I saw this from Axios.
Oh, okay.
And then I couldn't access the story. They gave me a teaser. And so then I tried to find
a story. Deals, like super expensive package.
Right, exactly. Okay. So thanks, Axios. But it caught my attention because I have an investment in the same space. So pediatric developmental, like PT, OT, occupational therapy, speech therapy, is unfortunately we have a real shortage across the country in clinicians. And so there's a long wait list, and if you have a 6-month-old that needs help, a 1-year wait list just does not work.
Right.
So this is a competitor to our investment, but it's a huge space, and obviously I'm biased. I like our strategy better, but I'm happy to see Origin come in because we have a lot of kids need help.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Parallel, a $20 million Series B raised after students achieved 98% IEP goal success. Valspring Capital led the round with participation from existing investor Rethink Impact. So this is an interesting one. Why did you bring this one in?
I'm really interested in
is this behavioral health for children?
It's behavioral health using telehealth and other sort of technology tools that are, not earth-shaking new crazy AI things, just sort of like getting support, getting help to the kids that need it. And they're having good results.
I mean, it's a really, really big Series B round. So they must be doing more than just having good results, but also, having some pretty big penetration. Earlier rounds had Tiger Global involved. So I wonder how far back that round went, whether it was part of, the craziness of the post-pandemic era. But that's interesting. It feels like we've done investments on the Foundry side, for
we have a decent amount of IOP, I think it's called, which is at home. Pretty, it's sort of in between that. Take your teenager and send them away for 12 weeks.
Yep.
Versus the once a week therapy. IOP is in the middle. It's very, intensive but outpatient.
Yep. Artera clinches $65 million in funding to build out AI agents for patient communication.
Yeah, so this is sort of a continuation of the theme. There's a lot of agents, and every day more and more agents coming out. And patient communication, I think, is a good opportunity where there's a lot of patients that just need help with pretty straightforward things, but there's a lot of complexity in our healthcare system. So I think agents have a good opportunity to help in this space.
Yeah, and agents are, I think, starting to get more mature from a technical perspective. Quite a bit has come out over the course of the last 2 weeks. I'm mostly sort of watching Anthropic right now, but I think the combination, like if you just look at Anthropic, for example, right, the combination of the build out of Claude skills, which really is a powerful way to take this, stochastic technology, which is LLMs, and make them more deterministic by putting these repeatable, composable code blocks in place that now, you're making LLMs that are general intelligence much more specific in their intelligence, because they pull intelligence off the shelf that is very predictable. And then Anthropic has now wrapped all of that with an SDK specifically for agents, right? So I feel like 6 to 12 months ago, agents were just like PR speak. And now we're starting to actually see how you technically can reliably deliver on the promise of an agent, which is, as a VC, it's exciting because now I feel like when someone says agent, I can pressure test what they're doing. It's like, at least we have the Anthropic model for that. I feel like it's time to take agents more seriously.
Yeah, Google has their own suite.
Right.
But yes, it's the same thing. Like, they're sort of getting more standardized.
Yeah.
So that you can compare one agent to another and learn from each other. There's a lot of leapfrogging of technologies. Health Velocity, who we're friends with, is in this deal. So I think it's an interesting deal to watch.
Yeah, and I guess it's something I want to make sure that we just sort of frame for our listeners, because one thing I'm noticing is, a narrative comes out about AI and then it becomes something that people generally understand. Let's take something like hallucination, right? And then people just kind of say, oh, hallucination. And like, do you think that the people who are working on this stuff aren't working on solving that?
Right,
you know what I mean? And even if you can't solve it at the core transformer level, because fundamentally it's a prediction engine, there are all sorts of ways to constrict the prediction engine in terms of what it uses to get the job done, right? And those things, that the tools it uses can be much more deterministic, right? And so you start to sort of compress the surface area for hallucination through some of these old school computer programming techniques. This is just old school comp sci stuff, composable libraries, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, it might make sense to define an agent. So how would you define an agent? Or I have a thing I've been using.
I don't know that there is a universal one.
Yeah, it's not that defined.
I don't know that there is a universal one, but I think what I've seen people define agents as is basically artificial intelligence generally powered by LLMs that can handle complex work tasks. So like not just a single work task, but like a complex work task that's made up of many smaller tasks that sort of replaces what a human was previously doing in the workplace.
See, I would have said yes, an LLM, but it has a goal. Like it has a task and a goal or a set of priorities, and then it has tools that it has access to. Okay. And I think so you sort of combine those things together.
Yeah.
It's just different ways to say the same thing.
Different ways to say the same thing. Yeah. Okay. All right, we're in the policy.
Policy.
That was a pretty strong VC
lot
rundown,
of
by the way.
This week.
A lot of investments, good size investments. That's actually kind of good, right? It feels like things are flowing.
And the IPO market, we didn't talk about, but the IPO market's getting geared up. I think SpaceX is going to go public, which would be, Elon's a big ego, but he wants to do the biggest IPO ever, which in order to beat Aramco will have to be, I think, $1.5 trillion and raise over $29 billion. So he's trying to raise 30 at 1.5. But they have Starlink. They have a lot of people that I think would buy an IPO there. So.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. All right, jumping into policy. Senate health bills fail as exchange subsidy expiration nears.
I can't say I'm that surprised
with
this.
No.
The idea that there were going to be enough Republican senators to come over and support the Democratic position, or that the Republicans would be able to get their kind of HSA version pushed through, they're just dysfunctional. They can't agree on anything. So they both had their votes. Neither one passed. I think 3 or 4 Republicans came over the Democrats, so that they got the most votes with like 52, but you need 60.
Yeah.
So nothing's going to happen.
The incentives to be bipartisan are
absent.
Yeah, absent for sure. HCA, Tenet, and UHS all receive FTC letter over non-compete agreements.
Yeah. The FTC is going after health systems to free doctors from the non-compete agreements.
This feels like a throwback to Trump 1. Trump 1's fundamental premise on healthcare, prior to RFK Jr. was competitiveness.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're starting to kind of see that come back now, right?
Yeah. And kind of free markets.
Yeah. Free markets. No monopolies, no lockups. Right. It's something to watch, because that's a big lever, right? That those organizations have. I mean, if they have to start, spending a lot of time and energy on retaining and that's. I mean, it's chaotic, right? You know what I mean? Because it just takes away from the controlling factor. The control factor is pretty strong, and it just takes a lot of energy that they would typically put into other really high functioning operational models, right?
Yeah, and it's not that health systems have so much money that they're just floating in money and not giving it to the doctors. I think there's a lot of pressure all around on health systems.
So. Yeah, agree. Texas files an antitrust suit against Epic over health data. So this is Ken Paxton, very active attorney general out of Texas, accusing the healthcare software company of leveraging its control over patient medical records to maintain dominance in the market.
I've learned from Emily, who comes on to help us with policy stuff, that a lot of times these antitrust things bubble up through the states. And so it caught my attention because I think Texas is pretty influential in the Republican side, and if they get a second state, I think they could get some momentum. But Epic doesn't have a lot of fans that aren't, big Epic users, and so there's plenty of people that would like to say that they're not being competitive, which I think there's a lot to argue for.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, what medtech firms can learn from Whoop's warning letter? An FDA warning letter about the wearables company's blood pressure feature raises questions about the blurring lines between medtech and wellness. So this is MedTech Dive, and I do think this is interesting, right? Because it feels a little bit like a mixed signal. RFK Jr. was walking around saying every American should have a wearable. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we would have thought that would have translated to the FDA being more wearable friendly, but now we're sending out warning letters. This doesn't quite rhyme with what I thought MAHA was going to be delivering. So, what's the story here?
I mean, I guess it depends on which side you're on, but the FDA is wearable friendly, and I think if you tell a patient that you're recording their blood pressure, it has to be right. So they were not satisfied, and I haven't looked at the data, but they weren't satisfied that the blood pressure insights were accurate enough, and they didn't approve it. And what I found interesting is not really that. I mean, there's been hundreds of companies that try to bring something to market and they have to say it's not ready yet. We have, in my portfolio, I have those. But what is interesting is they are fighting back. They're just refusing to stop. They're still selling it. I haven't seen that before. I don't know how they can do that, or I guess the FDA doesn't have a lot of...
Can they put some kind of disclaimer in the message in the app or something like that?
But they're not. I mean, it feels like a next step from the hims and hers, competing with GLP-1s by getting around the law and the FDA sort of allowing them to. So, the Whoop person said they disagree with the FDA's decision. Every company I've ever been part of that didn't get something approved the FDA always disagrees with the decision. But them refusing to back down, I haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's interesting. It could be that they are going to force HHS, not just the FDA, but HHS, to reckon with their positioning around the need for wearables. Whoop is, Whoop and Aura. Those are the top two. Yeah. Wearables out there, right? And the Apple Watch, of course, right? Those are kind of the top three. And so I think Whoop is just testing they're pressure testing, right? And also, we've talked about how the FDA is a little...
They have no enforcement.
Well, no, it's not so much that they have no enforcement, but they've had challenges within the broader HHS ecosystem, and so this could be a little bit of strategy just to kind of really see before I turn this off.
Yeah.
Let me see whether or not you're going to be able to make me turn it off, or if RFK is going to make you back down. Like,
Yeah.
CMS targets chronic care, nutrition, and MAHA Medicare payment model. Okay.
Yeah, so this is a new program. Anyone can apply to it.
Okay.
It's about $100 million to support experiments. Winning applicants will get $3 million spread out over 3 years. It's really nutrition or other health and wellness things to treat chronic disease. And they're looking for applications.
Yeah, see, but this is what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like this is literally
right. So
in conflict, right?
Whoop could apply for this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I think the Whoop CEO is playing a little game theory, and he is just like, I'm going to make RFK explain what he means when he says, we want wearables everywhere, but he doesn't want Whoop to continue to advance in, helping people get the data they need. I think that's the.
Yeah, I think it's also related to him's flaunting, just going directly against the FDA and IP law and getting away with it.
Yeah.
Where Whoop is, maybe it's probably both ends. Like they're seeing like the wearable thing has a lot of momentum, and we can resist this and just fight back with public opinion, and our users like it. Not that the FDA should care about that, but they do.
CVS Health boosts guidance, expects momentum to continue. The healthcare giant says it is offering a new AI-driven platform that aims to bring its various services into one app.
Yeah, so we have two stories from CVS. They had a big week. They had earnings that they boost guidance. Stock did well, and they announced this patient engagement using AI to pull in all the different services they offer. And they have a lot of health and wellness services, including Aetna, the payer side. So they seem to be coming back into being much more assertive, which is good to see. All the payers were sort of suffering for a little while, and it's good to see CVS at least come back. So.
Yep. Minnesota petitions to seize control of troubled UCare. Ooh.
Yeah, so UCare is out. They are winding down operations.
Oh, wow.
They're selling
I missed this.
aspects of the business to Medica, which is their in-state rival.
Okay.
And it's like going into whatever, I don't know that it's really bankruptcy for a payer, but that equivalent of that. So the state is sort of taking over.
What are their primary?
They're Medicare Advantage.
Medicare Advantage.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe the first of many.
Yeah,
maybe the first of many, right?
I mean, obviously, Minnesota is a great payer market. It's also a little bit of a generous payer market, I'd say.
Okay.
And so I think they had. I mean, it didn't work. They had too many benefits, and the MLRs way too high, and they can't keep going.
Man, I mean, if you don't have a deep balance sheet.
Yeah,
you can't take too many years of this, this margin compression, right? I mean, you really can't.
They also are Remo's biggest customer, which is not. That's how I knew about the story ahead of time. So that's not good for us. But
major weight loss and knee pain relief seen with new Eli Lilly drug. The maker of Zepbound reported results from a study of Retrotide, which targets 3 hormones in the body and led to much more weight loss than any approved drug.
Yeah, so this is we're starting to see new types, new flavors, new ways to affect weight loss. And Lilly's been leading it from the beginning. There's 2 stories here about that. So, but in this case, they're talking about knee pain relief, which, is I think probably, I was going to pick a quote. I shouldn't pick a percentage, but a significant number of knee replacements would not need to be done if the patient would lose 50 pounds or lose some weight. And so it's a pretty interesting use case.
Pfizer's appetite for more obesity meds leads to a $150 million deal for oral GLP-1 drug from China.
Yeah, so they licensed this once-a-day pill from China. It's shown early phase 1 testing to be very effective, but it's not clear how translatable that'll be to later phases or approval.
JP Morgan taps Solana for Galaxy's tokenized corporate bond issuance. JP Morgan in this instance is acting as the banker, right?
Yes, right.
Galaxy is the actual entity. Galaxy Digital Holdings, and
they're raising money. They issued the bond to raise money.
They issued a bond. They issued the bond on the Solana blockchain, and they sold it using USDC.
Yes, to Franklin Templeton and Coinbase.
Okay.
And I believe it's the first one in the U.S. So that's interesting. I think that's partially why Coinbase bought it, probably. That's my editorial. But I think there's going to be a lot more that occur on various blockchains. Solana's a good one. So just, again, one to watch. And then later down the story, they go on to talk about international, where Hong Kong is leading the international issuance of bonds on blockchain. So this isn't the first one globally, but it's the first one in the U.S.
So Solana Breakpoint is happening right now. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
That's their big annual
That's
conference.
probably why they did this.
Yeah, it's happening right now. It's in Abu Dhabi this year. And one of the big storylines is just how much USDC stablecoin throughput is happening on Solana. And it's something like 6% of all USDC throughput's happening on Solana. So they've got
more than Tether. So Tether's not on Solana?
Well, Tether's USDT. It's a different coin.
Yeah, but they could be on Solana too,
sure.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. But Solana's got a lot of stablecoin transaction volume right now, like a lot.
Well, is it right to say that Solana was created to be
this is what's
a
for.
very effective transactional blockchain?
This is literally what it's for.
Right,
It's literally for market structure.
Yeah,
you know what I
right,
mean? So
right.
like obviously you can do your like corporate bonds. That's kind of an easy one, right? I mean, we're talking about whether or not we can ever get, public stocks on there.
Right.
But no, Solana is for market structure.
Yeah.
That's what it's for, real world assets, et cetera. Coinbase expands reach of stablecoin-based AI agents payment tools. This is the X402 protocol, which was just an old micropayment protocol back from the early days of HTTP.
HTTP stack.
Yeah,
I think
Andreessen wrote it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right,
I mean,
right.
but it was a placeholder. It was it was never actualized because we never have had micropayments.
Right.
And so it's amazing that 20 plus years later.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting because
maybe 30 years later.
I mean, it's 93, 94.
Yeah, 30 years later.
Yeah.
30 years later, this protocol
They're sort of
finally finds
retrofitting payments into that standard where there's already like a space there.
Which is brilliant.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I'm paying attention to this. I think it's going to take off. I mean, it's very cheap. I mean, even approaching free, and you can do very small payments.
Yep. Gemini wins CFTC approval for prediction market, may expand into crypto futures, options, and perps. You got a bunch of Web3 stories here. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So the CFTC is really, I think even more than the SEC, leading in growing adoption for crypto and creating regulatory clarity. Lots of strong stuff. And the prediction market space is like so hot right now. I mean, Kalshi and Polymarket is just kind of like, if you listen to crypto podcasts like I do, I feel like something like a third of the conversations are about Kalshi and Polymarket now.
Did you see the insider trading thing on Kalshi?
I
think it was one of them.
Well, might have been Polymarket. Might have been Polymarket.
But people are talking about it, but prediction markets are inherently an insider trading thing. I mean, it's the wisdom of the crowd. So like people always have inside information. That's sort of the point of it.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, people were frustrated because someone...
Now they're around long enough that people understand they're not 100% quote unquote fair.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
They're not fair.
No.
They've never been fair.
No. And also, like, stop fooling yourself. It's gambling.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing. It's gambling. The house always wins. In this case, the house is the person with the inside information, right? So...
Yeah, Gemini, Kalshi, Polymarket, they are taking a very small spread of the float going through it. They're not taking one side or the other. I think you have to have both people transacting.
Right.
And someone has more information than the other. They both think they have good information, but they're wrong.
Yeah, agree. Tenet Health integrates with Dragon Copilot AI assistant as Microsoft moves deeper into ambulatory care. Man, I have not heard the word dragon in so long.
I know. Microsoft's still holding on.
Yeah. Old dragon.
Yeah.
Old dragon. It's funny. I feel like in the AI, like since AI has been booming, I've been hearing Athena Health more and more. Like it feels like it's making a little bit of a comeback as a very sort of lightweight, tech forward EMR. platform that is sort of made for a moment like this. Right?
Yeah, and I think ambulatory is growing as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably
sort of
part of why. Yeah,
right.
I think that's probably part of why. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Well, this is a post on X from DD Das. This is talking about sort of where AI is most being adopted inside of the enterprise. I found this very same information from the Menlo Ventures report, but basically, without bearing the lead, healthcare is the number one category where AI is being adopted, and it's like kind of not even close.
Yeah,
and a lot of it is, so I like the Menlo report because they dig into it a little bit more, and so much of it is the scribe technology.
Yeah,
that's really like the leading frontier.
Yeah,
which actually is heartwarming because it's not a back office thing. It's actually a clinical theater thing that like is helping doctors
be more present.
Yeah. So like,
and then allow them to go home. Allow them to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see kind of verticalized AI having successful use cases where there is ROI, like scribing, and I think revenue cycle 2 is probably in that category.
Yep.
Where it's working and people are companies are investing more and more money in it. There's a lot of publicity around 99% of AI testing isn't working, but there are software development, various healthcare things where it is much more effective to use AI in some cases.
Yep. Okay. OpenAI updates ChatGPT after code red scramble. So they managed to get a new version out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it came out today, so I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, it's 5.2.
The early results seem to be positive.
Sure.
But it's been out for 6 hours.
Sure. But it seems like what we're really seeing is that this is not an organization that can operate in multiple streams like Google can.
Yes.
Right? Google's balance sheet allows them to roll this out, plus roll out anti-gravity, plus roll out Nano Banana, plus roll out Vertex AI on the cloud.
Yeah.
Because
AlphaFold or whatever. They got all kinds of stuff.
Google. Because it's Google. Plus the TPU chips.
Yeah.
And we're just seeing how thin OpenAI really is. And again, this goes back to what we were talking about last week, I think. Just the idea that they're a startup, man.
Yeah.
And they tried to take on the monsters.
Right.
And I just think at the end of the day, like, you're taking on a monster that invented the technology. Like the idea that they weren't going to get their head on straight and like go eat you. It just always was just arrogance to me. I've been short OpenAI for a long time. I continue to be. I don't use it. I don't see a use case for it. Compared to Gemini and Anthropic and Grok. And Grok is the better real-time search LLM, right? So
we both have accounts. I don't use it that much, but I will I have the account just to test things like this.
Yeah.
But the reason I think it's important to follow them is they are going to keep going like full on, all gas, no brake to try to do what they can do. And Sam is a good money raiser and a good deal maker. Whether you think you trust him or not, I wouldn't trust him.
I mean, sure, but I think the thing is their play. Here was their play. Their play was, we're going to be the brand, right?
Yeah.
Like Google became the brand for search, and we're going to be the category defining company.
Right.
And I don't think they're going to be the category defining company. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they'll have their place and they'll do deals. But so here's an example. Secretary Hegseth rolled out the whole like military AI platform. Did you see this?
No.
Yeah. So the military now has access to Gen AI. I forget, like there's it's like mil.ai or something, AI.mil.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
okay.
But like there's like an official military AI program. Now, do you know what the first model they have access to is?
Probably Anthropic.
Gemini.
Really? Okay.
Gemini. Right? So like
Anthropic. So I was talking to a friend of ours at FDA. They're using Anthropic. spinoff.
Well, I would have been surprised for it to be Anthropic, since Sachs has been shooting at Anthropic and saying that they are like fear mongering, right? I would imagine that was probably not the aligned one.
Yeah.
But even still, like Google doesn't feel like the one I would have thought they would have picked. I would have thought they would have picked like Copilot or OpenAI, right? Like one of those two. The fact that they picked Gemini, that tells you like OpenAI is not the category winner. They're not like they may even be a leader, but they're not NVIDIA. They're not Google for search, right? They're not Meta for social. They're just an LLM company in a cohort of LLM companies. And that's why I'm short.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they propose to do.
Right.
That's not what they propose to do, right? Anthropic and Accenture strike AI deal targeting business clients. And this is why, because Anthropic's going to win the enterprise.
Yes.
This is why.
Anthropic is going to be a pure play enterprise. Maybe they'll have some government work because they're in the HSS.
And it's great. It's great. It's great.
OpenAI is not going to be that.
No, they're not.
Google's kind of all over the place, and they'll be good in every area.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, right.
Which is fine for them, you know?
Yeah. And Google has, positive cash flow. They're funding all of this out of their, crazy cash flow.
100%. And Google has Google has Gmail. Google has Android. Google has Google Workspace. So they can just infuse. Google has YouTube. They can just infuse Gemini in all these other things. Like, you know what I mean? They are like Microsoft. Like Copilot doesn't have to be a great standalone thing. It's like it just infuse it in everything else, and it's like it's going to get usage. It's going to get massive usage for that alone, right?
Yeah, the ones I would bet on if we were betting is I think Grok is going to be good, and then I think Meta is not dead yet. I mean, Zuckerberg has hired so many people. He's going to come out with something. I don't know what it is.
Well, here's the thing. No one is close to Meta on social, with the exception of TikTok.
Right.
Like TikTok's the only one that's close. But Meta is unreal on social, right? So as long as they have, this is the thing. AI is like the internet, right? And so it's going to be about who wins certain domains. You know, Meta still runs social.
Right.
Anthropic's going to win the enterprise alongside Microsoft.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's who's going to win that race. Gemini is going to be this great general purpose thing. And this is the worst thing Gemini is the worst thing for OpenAI because they're general purpose.
Right.
And they have so much distribution.
Yes.
That as long as it's pretty damn good, it's like, why would I have this?
Right.
And you can see that in the market share.
Yeah.
Deterioration, right? You can see that. So I don't think CodeWrite is gonna fundamentally change it.
No, I agree.
But having said that, our final story is that Disney agrees to bring its characters to OpenAI's Sora videos. Disney is taking a $1 billion stake in OpenAI and bringing its characters to Sora, the AI company's short-form video platform. Now, I think we have to first acknowledge Disney is not as strong as they used to be.
That's definitely true.
The strongest media company is Netflix.
Yes.
Okay. Disney is not the strongest media company anymore, right?
Yeah. Disney does have a lot of good characters.
But they've got some serious IP.
Yeah. I mean, all the Star Wars things.
My gosh.
All of those animated movies with, every generation has a movie that they grew up with.
All the Star Wars stuff, all the Disney stuff. And it would be interesting. They don't have 100% of Marvel, but they do have the core Marvel studios.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting whether or not the animated, not the comic book Marvel, but the human character, like Robert Downey as Iron Man, right? It would be interesting whether or not they can bring Robert Downey as Iron Man.
They got a picture of the one that is kind of a bad actor. Go down a little bit. One of the Marvel guys. What's that one that guy? What's his name?
Oh, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but what's his Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Yeah. So Deadpool is clearly in it.
Yeah, well, if Deadpool's in it, then that's Marvel Studios. That's Marvel Studios. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. See, that's...
it would be cool to see you doing jujitsu against Deadpool.
That's
I would like to see that.
That's pretty
I might
cool.
do that tonight.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So look, like I said, OpenAI is going to have a business. It's going to have a business.
Sam is a good deal guy. I think that's what he's best at.
Yeah. They're going to have a business. All right, man. We're heading into the end of the year, and I wonder, do you feel that we're heading into a midterm year? Mm-hmm. We are heading into the 1-year anniversary of Trump's term. And so, the groundwork has been laid. The shock and awe has happened. We're all on the other side of all of that. We've gotten to the other side of the government shutdown. I mean, do you generally think that we have a decent understanding of the playing field in terms of what is, and I'm not talking about black swan stuff. I'm just talking about, do we generally understand the policy landscape? Do we generally understand who has tailwinds and who has headwinds in the healthcare industry itself? Do we generally understand, as far as we know, based on the technology as we understand it and its iterations, do we generally understand like the type of impact AI is going to have? Because when we came into last year, we had no idea what we were coming into, right? But it's a bit of a different year, right?
I mean, last year at this time, crypto was not allowed in the U.S.
Big point. Huge point.
We just talked about JP Morgan putting together the first bond deal on Solana.
Yeah.
AI was several iterations behind where it is now. Sort of didn't exist. And now it's hanging out with Deadpool. I think that a lot has changed in the last year. I know very few people in DC by design. I never go to DC. And so I do not have any inside information. But it's my view from the outside that Trump 2 was very well planned. First year was very well planned. I mean, they came in with an agenda. These are the things we know we can do without anyone else's approval, and we're just going to do these things. And my guess is they had a 2-year plan, and they're just running full steam into the midterms.
But I guess my question is, do you think that there are things that they're going to do that they haven't already foreshadowed, signaled, or started? That's really the question. Like, are there going to be surprises that they haven't yet showed their hand on? That's the bigger thing for me. Not like, is it like more of the same? I think we can navigate.
I think Trump is going to be distracted with geopolitics. Mm-hmm. If Ukraine continues to go mess around, mm-hmm. and there won't be really any big change. If something happens in Ukraine and that gets solved, then I think he'll turn back domestic and try to do something that would get a lot of votes, be very popular. I'm not exactly sure what that is. It'll be whatever catches his fancy at the time. I think it's going to be more of the same. I mean, I think we know where Kennedy's going with HHS and his announcement today of, a contest where he has applicants apply for how to make nutrition impactful on chronic disease. One is an interesting new program, but two, it's very in character. Like that's what he's been wanting to do for a long time.
Right.
And I think Sachs and the crypto AI thing is very telegraphed. That they're going to try to come out with a nationwide set of policies that's going to be highly debated.
Yep.
Every state's going to hate it, but they probably can push it through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty well telegraphed.
It's pretty well telegraphed at this point, right? Okay. Well, that's comforting. I think so too. Mm-hmm. I think so too. By the way, and I think it's pretty comforting to feel like we've got it pretty mapped out. Mm-hmm. It's just because I guess the reason I'm saying this is because the first quarter of this year was pretty difficult. Yeah. And I'm not really excited about another first quarter like that. You know what I mean? And so, not that I'm thrilled with how things are going right now, but to at least feel like I understand mm-hmm. where all the chess pieces are, that's pretty valuable.
Yeah. I think, there's only 6 months until they start campaigning.
Yep.
And I think the die is pretty well cast. There is a really fast pace of AI and crypto that just it's going to keep going. It might accelerate, but it's from the government point of view, I think the way they're regulating things is pretty well established.
Yeah, I think that's right. All right, man. Anything else before we shut this thing
we have
down?
a show next week.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're going right into the holiday. And we need to come up with something for end of year, but
right. Yeah, I'm going to be in Europe that after Christmas, so that whatever that Thursday
that's what I mean. We need to come up with we may need to record something in advance, just kind of like maybe a year in review or something.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man. I'll see you next week.